like a rest day.
Yeah, well, you
Climatisation.
camp at the same level to acclimatise. That's at 3,000 metres.
On the way down as well.
Hi, and welcome back to the channel. Apologies if I'm a bit rusty today. It's been a while since I've filmed anything, but I'm definitely very excited to be right here at the bottom of Snowdon, here in Snowdonia, Wales. Before I dive into the reason why I'm here this weekend, let me show you what I've been up to since Project 100 ended all the way back in September. My recovery following Equinox 24 was a bit of a roller coaster, as I missed the general mental clarity you get from doing long runs, but at the same time I found myself consistently developing niggles which kept putting me back right at the start. But at the end of November I actually managed to complete some fun trail runs. Firstly, a 10-mile circular route that started near my house in Poland, before entering Czechia, then Slovakia and then back into Poland. The landscape wasn't as white as I hoped for, but still it was a fun run. My second run was far better, and even though I didn't get a chance to do the full route as planned due to time restraints, it was a great morning out. I started out in my hometown of Ustrine and then slowly ascended Chantoria Wielka, the highest mountain in the region at 995 meters. The original plan was to link this run up with another high mountain that looms over the town from the opposite direction. Anyway, the climbs were rough with around 600 meter gain over 3 kilometers whilst being hammered by cold rain, then sleet and then snow. But the reward at the top was worth it. I finally got the winter trail running that I came for. So now it's March 2025, and as some of you will know, one of my biggest goals for this year is the completion of the Ultra Trail Snowdonia 100-mile race in May. Now this is perhaps one of the toughest 100-milers in Europe, mainly due to its 9,500 meters or 33,000 feet of elevation gain. And these mountains above me are known for the technicality, and Snowdonia being Snowdonia, the weather is unpredictable. So I'll be spending the next 3 weekends here in Snowdonia, getting to know these trails, getting myself fit and ready for them in May, but also planning out the logistics because it will be one hell of an adventure. And I thought I might as well record the whole process in case I'm able to help a runner or two in the future. So stick around, this will be a good mini series and a perfect weekend. The weather's beautiful and I can't wait to get out there.
So I've decided to split the 100-mile course into 3 sections, which I'll cover over 3 weekends between now and the end of April. The plan is to do a substantial long run of around 20 to 25 miles on the Saturday before an easy effort on the Sunday. However, this being Snowdonia, these shorter runs are still bound to be a challenge regardless of the distance. I intend to use campsites for accommodation and also plan the Recces as point-to-point routes rather than looped, and so I'll be incorporating a bit of public transport at the start or end of my runs. Of course, I'll be sharing with you any recommendations in relation to accommodation, GPX files, logistics, all that kind of stuff, so that you can fit these Recces around your schedules. So for the first episode of this mini-series, I based myself at the Snowdon campsite, just outside of Recce, sat beneath the Snowdon Massif. The campsite was nice. As you can see, there was loads of panoramic views, really decent facilities and just general quiet and peace, which is what you need before you start to do these runs. It was also very cheap at £15 per person per night, and there was decent access to local pubs and any other things that you may need. The plan was to cover the entire UTS 50k course over the 2 days, which coincidentally also formed the start and finish of the UTS 100-mile course that I'll be doing. Day 1 at 36 kilometers in length and 2,300 meters in elevation gain was to be an optimistic but solid start to my 2025 adventures in Snowdonia. The plan was simple: up Llanberis, down Pig Track, halfway up Watkin Path, a few more peaks, then finally down Rangers Path back to Llanberis. Having only previously climbed Snowdon via the Pig Track and Crib Goch, I was definitely eager to see what the other paths had to offer.
I've just reached the mid-station of the Snowdon Railway, which means I'm around 750 meters in altitude, so I only have about 300 meters left of climbing to do. Yeah, as you can see, I've also reached the snow line. It's definitely a bit cold, but yeah, it's really dry, really sunny, beautiful day. Some of that climb was a bit steep, around 15%, so trying my best to keep my pace on point. You don't want to go too hard too fast in a race, as there'll be plenty more climbing to do. So I've just reached Penny Pass, as you can see there, which is the first official checkpoint of the 100-mile race. Now the fastest runners reached this point in 1 hour 40. I've just done it in 2 hours 45 with a detour to the Snowdon summit, which adds another 50 minutes there and back. So yeah, not bad going. I'm not sure how they do it so fast, because as you saw, the pig track was quite technical at times, especially with ice and people around. I suppose you won't have to worry about ice in May, but you never know, it being Snowdonia. Since this is the first aid station, it also means it will stock NAC products and other vital nutrition. So I actually got myself some NAC products to try a few weeks ago at the National Running Show. To be honest, I've always thought they were overpriced, and I still think that. They cost about £3, £4 per product, which is a lot in my opinion. But anyway, as I've got the electrolyte mix, and I've also got the sweet potato puree, so I'm looking forward to trying them. Just one tip, I've heard that the aid stations run out of NAC products pretty fast during the race because all the fast runners grab them. So make sure you got enough food for yourself to support support the stages in between the checkpoints. Now the route usually past Penny Pass continues up there, up the Glidderfar mountain and the surrounding mountains, you know, Devil's Kitchen, Trefan. It's a really exciting section which I'm looking forward to trying in a couple of weeks. But for now, my goal for today is to run down the road there all the way to the start of the Watkin path and basically cover the last few miles of the 100-mile course. So that's Snowdon summited for the second time today. Just 10k left now, back to Barris, down the Forest Rangers path, and then about halfway through I'm gonna turn off right and then head back to the town. Day 2 was to be slightly easier at 22 kilometers and 1,300 meters of elevation gain. Starting outside Snowdon base camp in Recce, it included 2 major ascents, one of Mynith Mawr and the second of Moel Elio, the final peak in the 100-mile course.
This section first starts off with a small forest, which has a few broken down trees which you have to go around. Now this may be a bit problematic at night and when you're tired and making mistakes, as I usually do. Anyway, then this proceeds onto a small gravel track which has some runnable sections and then some steeper hikeable sections, so it's a nice opportunity to get good tempo going uphill. From there you reach another small forest where it's easy to get lost, as I did. Just make sure you keep close to that fence line on the left hand side, and once you get over it you will see Mynith Mawr.
Just reached the summit of Mynith Mawr in 1 hour 10 minutes from the campsite. That's with multiple breaks to take videos, a couple times getting lost in the forest earlier. So yeah, that's a rough indication of how long that segment takes. It's a really nice path, to be honest. A lot of runnable sections and even a steep bit which you have to hike at the very even, so you can get really stuck in and get that pace going. So now there's a long downhill, about 500 meters elevation loss over about 5 kilometers, so 10% gradient, to the bottom of the valley, and then through the campsite and then onto Moel Elio. The trail flattens out in several places and may even be boggy if the weather conditions are wet, so just look out for that.
You will then enter another small forest. Initially you have to keep to the right hand side for about 100 meters before turning a sharp left and following that trail for another 200 meters. Once you start hearing the sound of water, you know you're on the right track and you can start heading down towards the campsite.
Just reached the top of Moyo Elio. That was a steep descent. Gained about 300 meters in a relatively short time. It's probably at least 20% gradient, 25% gradient. 1 meter now. Took me about an hour and a half from the campsite. So there was that section of nice runnable terrain, and also the forest was a bit overgrown, a bit tricky and boggy at times.